Hello everybody and welcome back to the Skycast, which I hope I'm not going to get done for calling it because there's some other person doing sort of this kind of thing. I decided that's what I'm going to call these videos, where I'm playing Skyrim and nattering about something with you guys. So without further ado, because knowing me, this is the kind of list that could run into some time for sure. So it's been going about, and this is more of a video response to Gull than the fact that it's been going about, top 10 PlayStation 4 games. Now I'm cutting mine down to top 5 because I'll be honest, I don't play my PlayStation 4 as much in any way, shape or form as I do most of my other systems. Now there's a variety of reasons for that, and I'll go into them on if I ever do a like favourite systems or whatever goodbye type cast on one of these things. Yeah, moving swiftly on. So I'm going to do these in descending order as always. So my number 5 is Doom. I know some of the 4 out of 5 of these are multi-system, but these are games I played on the PlayStation 4, although they are multi-system, some of them. So yeah, Doom is just a fantastic game. It took me a few goes to get my head around it. I think initially I was kind of I was definitely initially a bit nonplussed with Doom, because it kind of surprised me that everybody lost their minds over it. And I'm a big fan of, well, I'll be honest, I'm a big fan of the entire Doom series, and although it's not perfect, I really quite enjoyed Doom 3 and Doom 3's expansion pack, which I can't remember the name of, but it has an expansion pack, and I played through both of them and I really enjoyed both of them. And to me, what the new Doom, or the it's not the newest Doom now because there's Doom Eternal, but what the first of the 2 new Doom games was for me, it was Doom 3 at Doom 1 speeds with a intensely rebuilt melee system, which threw in a bit of a kind of Mortal Kombat-y angle to it, I thought. So initially I was a bit kind of like, well, what's all the fuss about? But then I really got into the actual sort of gameplay loop of it, and it's a really satisfying game to me once you get ooh, crab out of nowhere. No crabs for me, thank you very much. So yeah, so Doom is number 5. Really great first-person shooter, really different. Obviously, you know, like I say, it's got a lot of the sort of game look and narrative from Doom 3, I feel, and a lot of the game speed and attitude from Doom 1 and 2. But it manages to do its own thing, and I don't think there's really, aside from Doom Eternal, that there's any games that play quite like it in the first-person shooter library of, well, more or less any system really. It's very of its own thing. And moving swiftly on, number 4 is Dragon Age Inquisition. I love the Dragon Age series. I like them more than Mass Effect. I know that's often a controversial viewpoint, but it's just I'm more into fantasy than sci-fi, and also there's a little bit more depth to Dragon Age in terms of the combat and the systems and such like. Now I will say I haven't gotten my teeth into Mass Effect as far as I have into Dragon Age. I've got 3 games in the Mass Effect series that I haven't played, versus I've got 1 that I haven't played, and only 2 that I haven't beaten in the Dragon Age series. But Dragon Age Inquisition just kind of gave me pretty much everything I wanted out of a third Dragon Age game. Great graphics, obviously that's not the most important thing, but anybody who's especially played the first 2 Dragon Age games, Origins and Awakening, will know that it's kind of like, it's definitely the poorer brother or sister to Mass Effect, but Dragon Age Inquisition really shores that up. I do know from the brief period that I played of Dragon Age 2 that also that was quite a big step up from Dragon Age Origins and Awakening. But Dragon Age Inquisition is a really good looking game. It's got really nice gameplay. It properly steps out into being an action RPG, although it's still a bit kind of like skills and cooldown reliant. It sort of steps into being a full action RPG rather than being a kind of action RPG / time management / strategy game. And I think in doing so it kind of focuses the game a bit more. A lot of people have said there's too much to do in Dragon Age Inquisition, and I kind of agree with them, but I'd much rather there was too much to do than too little. And the characters and the storyline are really cool. Take you a few different places from your average RPG fodder, and you know, the characters that there are a lot of sort of characters who are making a comeback, but there's also new characters, and the ways that you can interact with them and the ways you can develop the relationships with them are really interesting, and don't feel too kind of like, they don't feel kind of like you either do this or you do that. It's more like, you know, you can, I feel genuinely like every time you played that game it would turn out slightly differently, unless you forced yourself to do absolutely every single thing you did last time exactly the same again. Moving on from that, we've got another action RPG / hunting game. I don't know whether you call like the Monster Hunter series like its own genre now, but that's kind of like, this game is God Eater Resurrection. And it's a PlayStation 4 remake of a PlayStation Portable and PlayStation Vita game, and it's basically kind of like Monster Hunter on speed, and a very sort of anime Monster Hunter. It has a really good storyline that I thought was quite moving. And there's a hell of a lot of content. I think I probably played it for about 80 hours, beating all of the storyline, because it's got a weird way of doing story in that, like, the game finishes 3 times, but each time you beat it you unlock a new storyline, so it's like the game has 3 mini stories that you can play through. It's a bit weird, but it's kind of cool, and it worked out alright with the sequel as well, because the sequel's sort of second storyline is hell of a dull, to be honest, and the levels that are attached to it aren't very interesting, and they were all kind of added as DLCs. Each time they reissued the game they'd add a new storyline kind of thing, which again was a bit weird, but seems to have worked out quite well. But it was good with God Eater 2, because although it was unfortunate that the add-on content wasn't half as good as it was for Resurrection, which has really good storylines for all 3 stories, and with the exception of a few levels, most of the levels are really good and really kind of fair. It's quite a hard game, but it's quite a fair game. But the sequel didn't quite work out so well. I've got the 3rd game, but I haven't started it yet. Just time hasn't, given me the opportunity to sit down and get rolling on it, but I am looking forward to playing that at some point. Moving on to number 2. Number 2 is Assassin's Creed Syndicate. From the sound of things, Assassin's Creed Syndicate was the last, pure Assassin's Creed game. It just has there's so much to do in that game, and the characters are so much fun. And and it looks really nice in a way that you kind of don't realise. So, I mean, I think that's kind of a thing with the Assassin's Creed games anyway, is that they're kind of subtle in how they look good, versus, you know, other styles of game, because obviously they're supposed to be historically accurate or near as. So you don't kind of realise initially. I remember initially I was kind of like, oh, this looks a bit like a 360 game. Why? And then as I realised how much stuff was out there in the game world, which is impressive given technically it's only a city, but like it's a huge map, and there's so much stuff to be getting on with. But you also realise that like it's slightly better than like the 360 PS3 gen, and it's rendering so much stuff at once. You're kind of like, whoa, once you get rolling with it. But also there's a ton of depth in how you can play the game and build your characters, and you've got 2 characters to play simultaneously, which is a really cool concept. I really liked being able to change between Evie and Jacob. I was a little bit miffed that the actual storyline forced you to play as Jacob so much, because he was kind of clumsy, which is not really what you want in an Assassin's Creed game, and it was kind of frustrating that you could dump all this experience into Evie and then the game only had you use her for about, you know, it's under half of the plot line, which I felt was a bit unfair in terms of balance, but it is what it is, I guess. So number one is Bloodborne. I love Bloodborne. It is my second favourite game of all time, and the only reason it's not my first is because I have so much history and nostalgia with number one, which is Ghouls and Ghosts. I've played through Bloodborne. I've got one ending I haven't had. I've got like the middle ending where like you stop short of getting the true ending and you don't fight the final ultra true boss, but other than that I have played through all the story content on Bloodborne and the DLC, and I've beaten all of it. And you know, that's not from like a bragging point of view. I just enjoyed it so much that I made the effort, and I mean, it's just it's kind of, for me, it's like the best parts of Dark Souls, the original Dark Souls, and the best parts of Devil May Cry put together, with like this crazy super ultra mad sort of RPG medieval / gothic kind of Castlevania game world, that just like, I mean, it's such a joy to be in Bloodborne's world for somebody like me. I mean, I'm mad on like Tim Burton, Castlevania, you know, well, they are Tim Burton, but the original Batman, the original sort of 80s, 90s Batman films, Batman itself. So that kind of like, you know, gothic cityscape that Bloodborne is set in is just right down my alley, and I love that game so much. And I've been considering actually doing another playthrough to get that final ending that I haven't had yet, where you kill the penultimate true boss, but you don't go on to kill the moon. Is it the moon presence? I think it's the moon presence, the ultra true boss. So anyway, that's my top 5 of PlayStation 4, and I'm just under time, so I'm going to call it there. I hope you're all doing very well, and once again, thank you to Gull for the interesting theme to have a bit of a chat. And I'll do another one of these Skyrim casts. Let's call it a Skyrim cast. Another one of these Skyrim casts in the future, no doubt. Take care of yourselves. Be well, and peace out.